Hey guys, it's Mike Chen. As you know, we live in a world that is full of mystery, of things that we can't quite explain, but are just far too interesting to ignore. And in the early years of mankind's existence, our ancestors' understanding of everything around them was pretty limited, which was why many of the things they witnessed or experienced that were out of the norm remained unanswered enigmas. Back then, they clung onto faith and superstition to make sense of the seemingly nonsensical. But for those of us who live in the 21st century, we rely mostly on science to make sense of what goes on in our surroundings. But even then, there are strange instances that have happened to us over the years that even mainstream science is really unable to properly explain. And this year alone proved to be one filled with strange happenings and enigmatic phenomena. And with the year 2017 nearing its end, I want to take a look back at some of the most amazing and mysterious events that happened in this year. First of all, let's start with this. NASA has always been the subject of intense scrutiny by many conspiracy theorists for their alleged efforts to cover up groundbreaking discoveries that could potentially destabilize established scientific truths. And more recently, the American Space Agency has gained some notorious reputation for altering and terminating the live transmission from the cameras of the International Space Station. Since January of this year, for example, NASA had been cutting the live feed from the space station whenever a mysterious and unidentified object is visible from the view of one of its cameras. This was followed by another UFO sighting in February, during which 6 large orbs were seen moving past the ISS. In March, the agency was also accused of dimming the feed when the space station's live cam showed a cigar-shaped object followed by 2 smaller orbs. Nevertheless, the agency itself and skeptics insist that no UFO has ever been sighted by the ISS and that the reason for the cameras turning off was really nothing more than a technical glitch. And of course, not everyone is concluding that the mysterious objects captured by the ISS cameras were proof of alien life. However, at the very least, many find the coincidental technical glitches after such UFO sightings as a little too odd to dismiss. Next up, the mysterious radiation spikes across Europe. Usually when there's a significant increase in the presence of radiation in our surroundings, the reason for it is obvious, or it is immediately made known to us. It could be due to a natural phenomenon or a man-made nuclear-related incident. However, in 2017, there have been reports of several radioactive spikes in different parts of the European continent. And what's really terrifying about it is that no one really knows or is willing to reveal the reason why. A radioactive material referred to as ruthenium-106 has been detected across Europe, and traces of this radioactive isotope was found in elevated levels in countries like Germany, Austria, France, Italy, and Switzerland. Experts in these countries have determined that the source of the elevated radiation could be somewhere in the Eastern European region. Some people allege that Russia may be responsible for the spread of this radioactive material and that the global superpower may be secretly conducting nuclear tests. However, given that ruthenium-106 is also used as a treatment to illnesses like cancers, some are more inclined to believe that a pharmaceutical company may have been responsible for the radiation spikes and failed to report a leak to the appropriate authorities. A similar incident also occurred earlier this year when elevated levels of the radioactive substance iodine-131 was detected in countries like Spain and Finland. Once again, experts believe that the origin of the radioactive spikes is somewhere in Eastern Europe. Number 3, reports of UFO sightings are really nothing new, but as for witnessing a massive unidentified ship rising from the ocean, that's something you probably thought you'd only see in movies. However, according to the chief engineer of an offshore supply vessel, this was a reality for him when he, along with his fellow crew members, saw a UFO silently rising from the waters of the Gulf of Mexico and disappearing into the skies. According to the organization's Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, in the National UFO Reporting Center of Newfork, the engineer provided them with a testimony that on March 21st of this year, the oval-shaped and dark-colored craft they saw was around 1,200 feet wide. It was more than 5 times the size of a typical supply ship. The submersible spacecraft apparently quietly rose from underwater for around 40 seconds, but once it was about 40 feet above the ocean, the craft flew into the sky at a 30-degree angle and almost instantly disappeared. Of course, only one testimony is available regarding this UFO sighting so far, but the engineer who witnessed the alleged mysterious spectacle believes that their crew was not the only ones who saw what happened, as there were also people aboard an oil rig nearby at the time. And while we're on the topic of UFOs, let's just keep going. Back in October of 2017, an unidentified aircraft was spotted flying in broad daylight over the border of California and Oregon. And while this may initially seem like just another run-of-the-mill UFO sighting with really no unconfirmed sources, it is not. Because not only did this specific incident involve commercial airliners, a military aircraft was also tasked to investigate, and even NORAD had to intervene. News of the sighting of the unidentified aircraft first surfaced on Reddit, but has since been verified and investigated by automotive news service The Drive. While having an unknown airplane flying over US territory is already a security breach in itself, there are many other strange things that made the mysterious aircraft a cause for concern. Because not only did the mysterious plane not have an active transponder, it was incredibly difficult to detect it on radar. Commercial airlines in the vicinity were asked to provide a visual confirmation of the aircraft, and a group of F-15s were purportedly sent out to try and intercept it. NORAD supposedly confirmed that an incident which involved the participation of several commercial airline crews, air traffic control, as well as the 142nd Fighter Wing did in fact transpire. However, the officials of the FAA and the 142nd Fighter Wing were less inclined to confirm the details of what actually happened. Finally, this one's really strange. The unexplained loud booming sounds heard across the globe. Now, no one is really concerned about hearing loud noises aside from the fact that it can be a bit startling sometimes. But this year, however, mysterious loud and booming sounds have been the subject of much speculation, especially since no one could figure out the origin of such similar and terrifying noises. More than 60 locations across the globe have heard the enigmatic sounds believed to have been possibly caused by a supersonic aircraft or by exploding meteors in the atmosphere. These booming noises have been heard in several states of the US as well as in various areas of the United Kingdom. Among the most recent is the one reportedly to have taken place in Alabama. What happened was, around the evening of November 20th, a loud boom was heard statewide and really terrified residents as the sound was loud enough to shake multiple houses. Again, no one knows the reason, but they now refer to the unexplained phenomenon as the Bama boom. And in conclusion, humanity always aspires to be a solid community of intelligent and enlightened beings, which is why we are sometimes really fascinated and also frustrated by things that we want to comprehend but really are not able to. But this is a reality we face given our curious minds and the curious world that we live in today, and as such, we can only expect to encounter more interesting enigmas in the future. And no matter how puzzling and difficult they are to resolve, we're gonna always try to unravel their mysteries. And on a personal note, I really can't wait to see what new mysteries and discoveries the year 2018 has in store for all of us. And guys, here's to wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.